I'm so honored to be here. And last year I visited NYU, actually in New York. And yesterday, our lovely Frank gave me a tour around here. And I was amazed. I was amazed by the beautiful building and the classrooms and the amazing activities and the energetic students. And most of all, I was especially amazed by the striking resemblance between NYU and NYU Shanghai. That is, there's no campus. I'm just kidding. You got great environment. You got great building. So today's topic is about encounter. I think encounter is not just a fancy way to say meet. There's something more to it. I think it contains the element of surprise, which can really change your life. And it also contains the word counter, which means against. So it can be something intimidating. It can be something that confronts you. It can be something like your enemy, adversarial. So the question is, have you got what it takes to tackle with these encounters, to seize the moment, to grab this chance of your life? And I'm going to share with you some of my encounters, very important opportunities that I seized over the past few years. I like to call them fortuitous encounters. Okay, so first of all, I want to talk about my major in college. I want to ask you a question first. Do you know what TCM stands for? It's okay. It doesn't matter because most of the people don't either. TCM actually stands for Traditional Chinese Medicine, or in Chinese, 中医. That was my major in college. That was like a shock to a lot of people. So that's quite a difference between what I studied at that time and what I'm doing right now. So, and I want to tell you a very interesting story on the first day of my college life. When we got into the auditorium, the hall or something, our principal said to us, "Welcome, everybody. Congratulations. You have entered this college, this great college. It's one of the top 5 TCM colleges in China." I was so excited until later I found out there are only 5 TCM colleges in China. So that's a very small school in a very small town. If I'm going to take you on a tour around my school, it will take probably only 1 or 2 minutes around the campus, but we still have a campus. Just joking. It's a very small town and a very small college, but the problem is not small. The problem is we were very, very extremely conservative. Think about that. You know, our best pastime, our favorite pastime is listening to Peking opera and drinking herbal teas as TCM students. So we are so close-minded at that time. Me too. Over 90% of my schoolmates, they had or they reached the same height of English abilities or English expertise as 90% of Chinese population, which is to be able to fluently utter these following words in the exact order. How are you? Fine, thank you. And you? And fine too. I was the same. I was no better than they were. My English level was terrible at that time. So, we had a joke at that time because of the surrounding, the conservative surrounding, that if you are good at English, actually you committed treason against your own country. We use that was a joke, but there's some truth to it. So we use that to an excuse for us to not really study English. So when I announced that I was going to take the examination of GRE and TOEFL and SAT, people were like, what? What is GRE? And they didn't know it, let alone understand it. So the support I got from my friends and classmates was like, they said to me, are you crazy? Are you out of your mind? So that was huge pressure on me. I was how old? I was maybe your age. I was sophomore student at that time. But I admitted that I was crazy. I slept for only 4 hours every day for half a year, like 6 months, more than 6 months. And part of the reason is try to prove myself. And another part of the reason is that the registration fee is non-refundable. That was like 1,500 RMB. At that time, that was 15 years ago, think about that. That was 3 months of lunch money for me, so I had to make it work. And yeah, I was crazy, but they didn't know that I was even crazier than they thought. My goal was never to get great like marks or scores in GRE examination. My goal was to be a great GRE teacher. So several months later, I got extraordinary scores in the examination, and then I became one of the biggest names, one of the most well-known names on China's biggest GRE forum. At that time, I was a sophomore student. I began teaching people about vocabularies in GRE and writing and reading, all this kind of stuff. There was a moment of like realization or epiphany moment for me. That was when elite students in China, the best student in China from Peking University or Tsinghua University, kept chasing me and asking me for help with GRE's examination, like vocabulary or reading or writing. That moment, I realized I made it. I changed my life a little bit. It's not a big deal for you guys. You are an NYU student, right? I was like invisible boy, a nobody from nowhere, a very small college, a weird major, a very small town, and the internet. It was not as huge as it is right now. So I got recognition not only outside my major, my school, but it's really worldwide recognition because we have a lot of students applying to for American schools and all around the world, Chinese students. So that was the first time I know, yeah, I can change my life a little bit by taking the chances, by seize the moment. So that was the first encounter. And 15 years ago. And then as a lot of people who are applying or who are preparing, applying for foreign schools and preparing for the examinations, I started watching TV shows, American TV shows. The reason for that was similar to you guys or to everybody else, is to improve my listening ability or improve my English ability. Well, no, that is not true. Because that's an excuse you give your friends or parents or teachers. I'm not fooling around. I'm not just killing time. I'm trying to learn something here. But do you know the phrase Netflix and chill? Yeah? Some of you do. Okay. If you don't know, just ask who laughs like 2 seconds ago. So you know your focus, your attention is not really on the show. It's on something else. But the difference between me and everybody else is that we all say it, you all say it, but I really did it. I did learn a lot from American TV shows. How? Because I watched them, I binge-watched them, I re-watched them, and I even dissected them. I tried to get their true meaning, figure out the true meaning behind every joke, every pun, every innuendo, out the nook and cranny of the show, of the dialogue. So for example, if I say this word, blow, what's the first thing that comes into your mind? I'll give you a little time to think about that. But in order to find out the meaning behind every jokes or every joke or pun, you have to get a really good translation or subtitle. I couldn't do that because at that time the subtitles for TV shows were really messed up, were terrible. I'll give you one example. Do you know the TV show Breaking Bad? Breaking Bad. There's Jesse Pinkman and Walter White. There's a scene between Jesse's girlfriend and Walter White. Walter White wanted to get into the house, but Jesse's girlfriend was like, no, he doesn't want you in. you cannot get in, period. And the Chinese subtitle says something like, you cannot get in because I am on my period. You know the difference? You know the difference? So, but when I pointed out these kind of problems, people get upset, especially online, especially in China. We'll say something is wrong. We'll point out the problem with something. People will usually say, you up. You know, that actually means, oh, you are so smart, you are such a smart ass. You think something is not good enough for you, then why don't you do it yourself? To which I replied, all right, okay, I'll do it. Then I joined the fan sub team. It's our fans for American TV shows who do the subtitles, translated subtitles, Chinese subtitles for the TV shows. And within like 1 or 2 years, I became famous in that circle too, because 90% of the, maybe 95% of the TV show, the subtitles we see are based on the English transcripts. Without the English transcript, these people cannot do their work, but I can do that. I can just watch the video, listen to the audio, and can translate that. And I thought at that time that was not challenging enough, then I did something, I went even further. I transcribed these shows. I write down every word, each and every word, verbatim. And then I found out that maybe, at that time, I realized, maybe I was not obsessed with TV shows, but I was obsessed with challenges. So I tried to find the next bigger challenge for me. That was a time when I encountered American late-night talk shows. But at first, I couldn't understand the word they are saying. You see the audience, they're laughing like, ha, 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 ha. I was like, what? Because of the difference, not only in language, because they are talking very, very fast, but the current affairs, political, like argument, and celebrity stuff, you had to accumulate a huge amount of background information to understand all the jokes in the TV in the late night talk shows. So again, it took me like a year to understand them, and then I found out that to translate them into Chinese is even a bigger challenge for me. It's almost impossible. Like I just said, period and period. That was an easy one. So how can you translate like Jon Stewart, the former host of The Daily Show, his joke about Barack Obama or Bush Jr. into Chinese, and without a lot of background information and the notes and all this the things you put on your screen, and you can make people understand that immediately. That was my job. And after a while, I became the first translator of American like late night TV shows, late night talk shows, and stand-up specials in China. Okay. And again, I try to ask myself, yeah, this is something that no one has done before. I tried it anyway, I did it anyway, and then I made it. But what else can I do? I became well known in 2 small circles. The first one is about GRE Forum, and the second one is Fan Sub Team. These 2 worlds are based on forums, BBS. That was a long time ago. And when I was asking myself this question, can you start again? Can you try something new? What is the next thing you want to do? Luckily, Twitter went out. Twitter came out, and Sina Weibo copied the crap out of Twitter. So I got this chance to try myself again. I started to post videos I translated, mostly about late night talk shows and stand-up comedians on Weibo. That was something that nobody had ever seen before. A lot of people, like, they were really against these kind of things. They think they are bad, they are really vulgar, they are against the value of Chinese people, so people didn't like it in the beginning. And when I started my account, I have only 5 followers. So let's talk about translation a little bit. Translation, in my opinion, is all about bridging over the gap between 2 languages or 2 nations or 2 countries, knocking down the like cultural obstacle standing between us and the knowledge from the outside world. Years ago, we called that language barrier. But right now, we call that the Great Firewall. Right? So basically, technically, us, we translators, are actually human VPNs or human proxies to bring knowledge across the Great Firewall into our country. So let's go back to this social media thing. It took me a long time. It took me like 6 months to make it in the GRE world. It took me like 2 years to make it in the fan sub world, but it took me 7 years. I posted at least one video every day for 7 years. Thousands of days and thousands of videos later, the number of my followers grew from 5 to nearly 9 million. Look at that. You can see the view. You can see the retweet or repost Weibo here. The number is huge. So, and then at that time, what is more interesting or more satisfying for me is not about the number of my followers. It's the fact that everybody in China right now know what American talk show is. Because a lot of people, most of them are my friends, are doing stand-up in Chinese or in English in Shanghai, in Beijing, in Shenzhen, in Guangzhou. Right now, they have these stand-up clubs, and they have these TV programs or online programs, variety shows, like a roast, like a stand-up comedian meeting or something. So that is what I've been dreaming of. So right now, my dream come true. So part of that is my contribution to promote, to spread, to convince people this is something very interesting. So that is really satisfying for me. And then again, I became what you call 网红, internet or social media influencer. But is that enough for me? I asked myself this question. What if all the social media go away? What else can you do? If you have to start from scratch again, what can you do? So 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I started to do something else. I became a reporter or an interviewer. We have another speaker today, Brian, but I didn't see him here. I would like to give a shout out to Marvel and Disney. It was all started with a mouse. So like more than 2 years ago, I started to collaborate and work with Disney and Pixar and Marvel and Lucasfilm. I've been to a lot of Comic-Con-ish events in the United States and in Europe and in China, and got a chance to interview dozens of famous directors and very brilliant actors and actresses. I will not bore you with the details. I'm going to bore you with the names. So David Beckham, George Smoot is actually from Disney, like John Lasseter, you know who he is, and Nolan, Ridley Scott, J.J. Abrams, Bryan Singer, okay, and some actors, Johnny Depp, Benedict Cumberbatch, Tom Hiddleston, Michael Fassbender, Eddie Redmayne, Hugh Jackman, dozens of people. So what is that I can do and other reporters can't is that I can make all these interviewees feel relaxed and comfortable within 1 minute. Why? Because we only get like 5 or 8 minutes. You have to ask them a lot of questions. You have to get the answer that was unlike the answer he gave, like to maybe hundreds of different media before. And you don't only have maybe 1 minute to make acquaintance, to make them feel that you are friendly, make them trust you. So you only have 1 minute to do that. I can do that within 1 minute, even with some big figure like Nolan. So that's my thing. And after 2 years, this one was quicker. After 2 years, I became not one interviewer. I become the interviewer for all the studios. When they are promoting their film, Hollywood blockbusters in China, they will come to me to do the interaction, to have all kinds of activities with the talents. And that is not even like my best achievement or something that I'm the most proud of. This is something, and the host just mentioned that before. After 2 years of that, I really traveled a lot around the world. And at the same time, when I was interviewing them, I also talk about Chinese culture and the things it matters to me the most. So I became one of 50 people who influenced the relationship between US and China. So what a coincidence. NYU Shanghai, America, China. So I think in the future, I can see your name on this list, right? You are at the frontier. I tried very hard. It took me 15 years to reach here. But for you, you're already here. You just need to work very hard. Maybe from like 15 years from now on, I can see your names on this list. I love this magazine. Actually, I'm a subscriber to this magazine. Foreign Policy is a great magazine in the United States. You can see on this list, I'm with some big names like Mark Zuckerberg, Bob Iger, Matt Damon. Okay. So, and to sum it all up, I want to say every encounter is an opportunity. As my life experience showed you. And usually people like to quote some inspiring words or phrases like carpe diem means to seize the day, which sounds a lot of classier because it's in Latin. I will not do that. Instead, I'll give you this quote. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'll try. Aprovecha el momento. Actually, it means seize the moment. But it's different because it's not in Latin, it's in Spanish. This is what I'm trying to say. But you ask this question, how? Because it's counter, it's against you, if something confronts you, it can be intimidating. Sometimes these opportunities can be your enemies. How can you tackle them? How can you seize the moment? I have 3 advices for you. The first one is be prepared. It's another cliche, right? But what I mean is I encourage you to soak up all the information and skills and the things seemingly useless right now that you can get your hands on. You have the perfect opportunity here. Because yesterday on my tour around your building, I saw amazing programs, amazing courses, and you have great and brilliant professors. Maybe the best faculty in the world. So you have this chance to get your hands on all different kinds of knowledge. You know, when I was in high school, my mom liked to call this kind of knowledge garbage knowledge. Why? Because according to her definition, everything outside of your school or your school book or textbook, when you are reading a novel, is garbage book. But actually for me, it is not TCM, traditional Chinese medicine knowledge that helped me to get where I am today. It's all these like useless or garbage knowledges to get me here. So get everything you can get your hands on. So be prepared and be versatile. The second thing is dream big. Tom Hardy once said in the film Inception that you mustn't be afraid to dream a little bigger, darling. I think by that, I mean don't aim for the moon, aim for the sun. Because 15 years ago, I couldn't imagine that I could make the list of 50 people who influence China-America relationship. So I cannot imagine that. So dream big. Even if you fail, you'll be remembered. You know, in Greek mythology, there's someone called Icarus. He had a wax wing. He tried to fly to the sun, but he failed and fell to the ground. But we still remember him as the first guy in history, first person in history who tried to reach the sun. But maybe, you know, it's All Singles Day, it's the shopping day. Maybe he got his knockoff wings on Taobao or something. But that's not the point. Just dream big. The third thing is make it or break it. Give it all you got. So half measure will not work. For me, if I try to do something, if I try to achieve something, I will be relentless. You want to sleep? You can't always sleep later, right? If you want to get this, and that's true. That's not like a joke, not even a joke, because the best year are the years in college. That's what I think. You got the best resources right now. You got the best like memory. You got the best like a physical condition right now do the things you want to do, and maybe you will regret later, but at least you can try. And last, I want to give you a little tip, because a lot of people ask me, what is it like to be a 网红, like influencer? It has good sides and bad sides. I want to talk about bad side. You know, shows, internet shows, social media shows. A lot of people are trying to heckle you, try to stir up some fight or argument. Just ignore them. Just ignore them. Don't feed them the attention they are desperately seeking. That's the attention that feeds them. Just ignore them. Don't answer to them, their comments or private message. Just blacklist them. So in the end, I want to emphasize on this resemblance. What I'm trying to do is to make the things from another a culture accessible to the common Chinese viewers or Chinese people. And you are at this crossroad also, and you are at the frontier of this crossroad, the East and the West, United States and China. I really hope you can make it. You have a much greater starting point than I had 15 years ago. So 15 years ago, my dream was to be a GRE teacher. And then 12 years ago, I tried to be I really made it to be a teacher, and then I tried to do something in the subtitle world. And 7 years ago, I started to be a 网红. And then 2 years ago, I tried to be an interviewer. I made it. I think you can make something even bigger. So that's my best wishes to all you guys here. Thank you for your time.